What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So last night in the UFC 300 post-fight press conference, Dana White decided to drop three massive fight announcements for upcoming pay-per-views, that being UFC 302 in Newark, New Jersey, and then, of course, UFC 303. I think that's International Fight Week on June the 29th. UFC 300 and last night was maybe the craziest night I've ever had as an MMA fan. You know, the fights were insane. We had arguably the greatest knockout of all time with that Holloway performance. And then after Dana White drops these fights, it was insane. But let's jump right into it with the announcement from Dana White. He got some note sheet in the post-fight press conference and announced three fights. So let's jump into it. Here's Dana White.
June 1st, Newark, New Jersey pay-per-view. Main event, Islam versus Poirier.
Okay, UFC 302, Newark, New Jersey, June the 1st. Islam Makhachev will be defending his lightweight title against Dustin Poirier. Yeah, really good fight. Happy that UFC 302 got a main event because we were kind of needing that. 301 wasn't great, and then 302 doesn't really have that many fights on it, so we have the main event. And now Dana White announces the co-main event, which is also a really nice fight.
Co-main event, 5 rounds. Strickland versus Costa.
All right, 5-round co-main event for 302 in New Jersey. Paulo Costa getting another big fight against Sean Strickland. 5-round co-main event. That's a really good fight, especially when you want to sell pay-per-views. And then finally,
June 29th, Conor versus Chandler. 5 rounds, 170 pounds.
170 pounds for Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler, June the 29th, International Fight Week. Conor is finally back, but let's jump more into these fights. Let's start off at the bottom. And work ourselves up. Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa, Saturday, June 1st, Newark, New Jersey. 5-round co-main event for UFC 302. This is a great fight, man. This is a great fight. It's a fight that UFC 302 needed. It's not a title fight, but it's still in the co-main event. It's still going to sell pay-per-views. It's still 5 rounds. 2 exciting names. The press conference is going to be very interesting. And it's a good fight, man. It's a good fight. Paulo Costa getting rewarded with another big fight against Sean Strickland. Whoever wins this, maybe they're fighting in a number 1 contenders match. So as we know, Dricus Du Plessis and Israel Adesanya are most likely going to be fighting at UFC 305 in Perth. So I think it's kind of going to play out like this. Du Plessis Adesanya, they fight. The winner of that probably fights the winner of Chimaev versus Whitaker. Maybe the losers of both of those fights fight. So say Adesanya and Chimaev fight, just throwing names out there. And then you get this fight, Strickland and Costa. Maybe the winner of this fights Jared Cannonier in a number 1 contenders match. Maybe if Strickland wins, he's already elevated to a title shot. Very interesting. The middleweight division has revived itself because literally 2 years ago, it was arguably the worst division in mixed martial arts. And now we have this banger for UFC 302. And I'm happy Paulo Costa is actually staying active because even though he lost to Robert Whitaker, he looked damn good in that fight. He looked good. He was hurting Robert Whitaker. And I want to see Paulo Costa stay active because the skills are there. It's just the inconsistencies and maybe, if you want to say, the effort is not always there for Paulo Costa. So maybe we get a new mythical fighter. Maybe we get an active Paulo Costa. Maybe that dude's a championship level fighter. I don't know, but I'm happy he's staying active. Maybe the UFC is rewarding him with a Strickland fight for staying active. And this is a banger of a fight, man, because I could see both guys winning. I see Sean Strickland having a lot of success, with that 1-2. I could see Paulo Costa having success with the kicks. It's a really good fight, man. I could see anybody winning. If I had to pick somebody, I'd probably go with Sean Strickland right now. But as an underdog, If Paulo Costa is staying active, if he's motivated, he could win this fight, man. He really could. I don't see him finishing Sean Strickland unless he lands something crazy. I could see Strickland finishing Paulo Costa, but I could see it, and I feel like most likely it goes to a 5-round decision, which is really, really exciting. I'm excited that this fight's actually happening. It was rumored that Paulo Costa signed the contract, but Sean Strickland didn't, and I think that was true at some point. I don't think Strickland was getting enough money, and then they probably renegotiated, and then Strickland got that bag, and now this fight's happening. Very exciting. That's a great main event for UFC 302 in Newark, New Jersey. Let's move on to the main event of UFC 302 in Newark, New Jersey, and it is Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier. This card needed a main event. We really had nobody else besides Islam. You look at everybody on the roster, flyweights booked, O'Malley's not fighting, Topuria is not fighting. They're going to wait to do a massive pay-per-view with him. Islam at lightweight's the only guy. Leon, they're going to save him for England. Middleweight, we already know what's going on there. Light heavyweight just happened, obviously, and then heavyweight, John Jones is still in the division. So this is kind of the only guy we had left, and it's still a banger of a fight. Yeah, Dustin Poirier didn't really deserve it, but at the same time, there wasn't anybody else to give it to. Who are you going to give it to? Arman Sarukian on a month and a half's notice, and I feel like the UFC would rather give it to Poirier, especially on a full fight camp, right? But at the same time, the UFC didn't need to put Charles and Arman and then Justin and Max on 300. They could have just saved Gaethje or maybe Charles or even Arman to just fight Islam at 302, but that's besides the point. It doesn't really matter. This is still a great fight. The winner, if Dustin Poirier wins, I don't even know what to say. Great for Dustin Poirier. What a story. Does he defend the belt a few times? Excuse me, I'm not really too sure. If Islam wins, do they give him Arman Sarukian in October? I'd like to see Islam stay busy. But yeah, I'm happy this fight was made. I'm happy it didn't get a dumb main event. No, I don't want to say dumb, but like Raquel Pennington and Juliana Pena, that wouldn't have been the best, especially for Newark, New Jersey. That wouldn't have been that great. So I'm happy this fight's made. I don't really know what else to say, man. I really don't know what else to say for this fight. I think Islam wins. I think Islam wins. He's just the better fighter than Dustin Poirier. I think he's going to be able to mix it in. He's going to stay safe on the feet. I don't think Dustin's going to really tag him with all too much. As we know, Islam's one of the most defensively sound strikers in UFC history, statistically, and then with the eye test, it's clear as well. I think he mixes it in. I think he'll be able to get Poirier to the ground. He's a lot bigger. I wouldn't say a lot bigger, but he's bigger than Dustin Poirier. So I feel like he'll be able to control him on the ground, and he'll be able to get it done. I could see it by maybe even a first-round submission. But early prediction, I'm going to go with second-round submission for Islam Makhachev. But still, it's still a banger of a fight. The only real championship fight that could have headlined 302. There wasn't really anybody else, so I'm happy this is made. Islam Makhachev, Dustin Poirier, UFC 302 in Newark, New Jersey, June the 1st. Banger. Now let's get on to the big one. Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler at UFC 303 International Fight Week, June 29th, 170 pounds. And I'm just happy this saga is done, man. We've been waiting for this fight for so long. It's been years. It's literally been years. I don't even remember when The Ultimate Fighter premiered, but that's gotta be over a year now. It has to be a year and a half. So I'm just happy this fight's finally happening. There was points where it felt like it was just never gonna happen. There was points where it seemed like Michael Chandler was never gonna fight again. And especially Conor McGregor. Even myself, I was doubting that McGregor would ever fight again. There was real points where I was thinking Conor McGregor is never going to fight in the UFC octagon again. And even recently, it seemed like maybe contract negotiations with the UFC is kind of stalling. There's not much going on. And then boom, Dana White's talking about how the fight's almost happening. He's posting stuff on his Instagram story. Conor saying, oh, the fight's done. And it was weird. All of a sudden, the fight was just, boom, we have it. So I'm just happy that's finally done. We finally have a date for Conor McGregor's return. And I'm going to be honest, it's kind of sooner than I thought. I did not expect that McGregor announcement a few months ago to actually be true. I don't think Conor even thought it was going to happen June the 29th. But here we are. I was worrying we were going to get it in, winter at worst, maybe even fall. But still, I didn't want to wait till the fall or the winter. That would have sucked. I want to see Conor McGregor back, and I'm so happy we finally have a date. 170 pounds is crazy. 170 pounds is crazy. I think Conor's going to destroy him. I'm going to be completely honest. I think Conor's going to destroy him, especially at 170 pounds. I think he's going to have a severe speed advantage. At 170, at welterweight, I feel like Michael Chandler is just going to be like a brick in there. He's not going to be able to move. He's not going to be fast. He's going to have ring rust. I don't even remember the last time he's won a fight. Was it really against Tony Ferguson? Am I missing something? Or is the last fight he won was against Tony Ferguson? That was so long ago. What was that? 276 maybe? Oliveira Gaethje? My memory might be wrong, but it's felt like so long since Chandler has fought. And I just don't think he's going to be that great at 170. Of course, he's always training, but that's a lot of weight, man. That's a lot of weight. Even, Conor McGregor's fought at 170. He's looked pretty good. I think there's going to be a big speed advantage. I think McGregor's going to catch him as Chandler enters the pocket. Of course, Chandler has some explosive movements. Maybe he does look good at 170. Maybe he lands some shots on McGregor's chin, but I see McGregor beating him, man. I really see McGregor beating him. I'm confused why it's at 170. Say Conor wins. What do you do with him? Do you give him? Does the UFC fast track him to a Leon Edwards fight? Because I know for damn sure they'd prefer that over Bilal Muhammad. Or does he go back down to 155 and fight Islam Makhachev? I mean, that storyline would be like insane. Conor, Islam would be. You guys already know where I'm going at. That fight would be incredible. So I'm interested to see where the winner goes from here. If Chandler wins, I'm not too sure. I really don't know. I don't think he's gonna fight for a title again. I don't really believe he should be in title contention. I'm definitely more interested to see where Conor goes if he wins. Obviously, but if Conor loses, he's kind of done. I don't know if he signed a new contract. I don't know what the deal is. I thought he had maybe 2 fights left on his deal. But overall, I'm just happy this fight is finally happening. It has been so dragged out. We finally have a date. Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler, UFC 303, 5-round main event, June the 29th, 170 pounds. We will be there. I am so excited. Just to run through it one more time, Sean Strickland, Paulo Costa, 5-round co-main event, UFC 302 in Newark, New Jersey, June the 1st. The main event for that card, Islam Makhachev, Dustin Poirier, and then, of course, Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler. Let me know what you guys think of these fights in the comments. UFC 300 last night was absolutely incredible. I appreciate you guys for watching. Let's go.